One of the things I've learned from you guys is you don't always trust yourself when you're reading tarot. And so I put together this little mini course about how to get the most accurate tarot reading every single time. And like I say in the intro here, I'm not sure you're going to like it because it's kind of like this is the structure, but if you follow this, you're going to be able to learn to trust yourself reading tarot, and then you can be more freestyle if you want. Okay. All right. So stick around. I hope you enjoy this tarot class. If you want to sign up for the whole tarot class, there's a lot more where this came from. The Wisdom of the Tarot is very robust, recorded class. If you don't know that I've done that, it's been quite a long time, and I have just added to the information. So there's a link below called Wisdom of the Tarot if you want to join the tarot class. It's recorded, self-paced, do it all in your own time. And if you want to join the tarot certification, that's something live that I'm doing to help people really get themselves to be a professional tarot reader. And we are going to expand our website and Soulful Revolution to include tarot readers who want to do one-to-one personal readings at first. All right, we'll see where it goes. All right, there's a link below for that too. So I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you learn a lot. So this is one of my favorite topics, and I don't know if you're gonna like it, but I am determined to help you get an accurate reading every single time. So we're going to start talking about that in 1 minute. Okay, Colleen? Just want to make sure.
One more time. This is the last person.
Okay, good. Soggy, New Jersey. It is super soggy here too. You can tell my hair is all weird from being in and out today. Charlie had a little doggy training session today. That was so cool. It's at the very beginning of the chat. Colleen put it way at the top.
Well, it like you didn't see it. I may have to put it in again. So give me just 1 second and I'll put it up there again.
Yeah, she'll put it in. So it's not necessary for the beginning of the class. So here's what I want to say to you guys. So the point of this class session is to help you get the most accurate reading. And in my view, there's almost no point in not doing it at all if you're not going to, get accurate readings, right? So I have my list of things that I want to share with you that I do. Okay. And you may end up having kind of your own list about things. You may, eventually I'm going to say to you, if you can institute a little discipline when you're, some of you may be advanced. I don't know what level everybody is. Some of you may be just starting or just learning. Some of you may have been reading for years. I think this is applicable to everybody because, especially if you've been reading for years, it's really easy to get lazy, okay? It's really easy to just toss out a bunch of cards. I see it a lot. And, it's like whatever people want to do, no judgment here. But, my goal is to help you get an accurate reading. So when people just throw out some cards, it's like, for me, I feel like that lessens the chance of accuracy. Okay. So as you create this container, right, you were creating this container and we're removing a lot of variables. Okay. We're removing a lot of variables by doing this. So how I prepare, right? It's very hard for me now to do readings with, a lot of hubbub going on. So I'm going to suggest to you that you clear a space, that you have a dedicated space, or if you do this every morning, like in your bed, like I do in the morning, it's the same place every single time. So you can clear a space. It shows respect to the cards. It shows respect to yourself. And it's something that, you might want to, sage and have a candle or have something, or have your crystals or whatever you want to do. Make a kind of a sacred space. All right. That's kind of job number one, is to show respect. Okay. And so clear your space. And the second thing I do, I can sage, whatever. You don't have to sage every day. You don't have to do that stuff every single day. But when you're starting out, do the same process every single time. Okay. So I clear my deck. And what that means to clear the deck, you can do a couple different things. You can sage your deck, meaning if you have, I have a really beautiful rose quartz bowl, and I put white sage in it, and I, say a little prayer of thanksgiving, a little prayer of protection, and my intention for the deck itself is just, information that comes out of this for your best and highest good. I invite in my higher self. I invite in the ascended masters. I invite in, how do I say this? Spirits that are for your best and highest good. I only allow love to come close. I don't want any kind of neg energy. I don't want anything like that. So I just automatically do it. I put a gold, it's like this golden pink color in my head. It's like this rose gold color in my head. And
like your hair.
Yes, that's true. I put this, kind of golden pink bubble around me. I'm asking for protection. And that's really important. Okay. It is really important because when you're getting messages, first of all, stick with your own higher self if you can. All right. Before you start inviting in other energies, because your higher self is always with you. It is for your best, that energy is for your best and highest good. Your main guides, you have one or two main guides that are with you for your entire life. And then you have guides that are with you for different purposes, right? When someone's going through childbirth, there are definitely energies, that protective energies and positive energies, high vibration energies that come around. So you want to ask in my guides, those who will bring energy, information in love and light, solely in love and light. Okay. You want to create this energy so it's always consistent. And when you do this purposefully, you just do it automatically after a while, right? It just becomes like, okay, it's like when you step into your office, right? You're like, first thing you do, you look at the phone messages, you kind of do it by rote. All right. So that's what needs to happen. You need to clear the space, put the bubble around, clear your deck. Now, every once in a while, you can clear your deck with sage. You don't have to do this every single time, but maybe once a week, put them in order. Okay. Put the deck in order. And the major arcana from the Fool all the way through the World. Then, I go from fastest to slowest: swords, wands, cups, pentacles. All right. From ace to the king, ace to the king, ace to the king, put them in order. Okay. And then you can sage it again, right? The purpose of that is clearing out old energies of the deck, clearing out old things that hang around. And when you shuffle, you do have a tendency to kind of shuffle the same all the time. I've noticed that about myself, and you have to consciously work on different shuffling, right? You can do different kinds of shuffling. You can, mess them around. You can do you can do a lot of different things. But when you get into this habit, you may shuffle the same amount of times every single time. And instead of doing that, I sort of go, okay, I'm ready to shuffle now. And I hear like a little song in my head, and I go until the song is over. That's just me. It's like boop, 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 something like that. Seriously. And I go until the song is quiet. It's almost like, musical chairs. I go until the song is quiet. And when I first started, I used to feel a little like, okay, it's ready. Okay, it's ready. Okay, it's ready. You figure out what your thing is, okay, when you're shuffling. So the cards are prepared then. And so when you do that, when you're shuffling, you could be shuffling for a particular purpose. So before you start messing around the cards or whatever like that, you do set an intention for a specific outcome. I'm looking for information about this specific relationship. in my best and highest good, please bring me information for my best and highest good about this situation. It's like a little prayer of gratitude or whatever. And then you ask the question that's different than setting the intention. The intention.
Yep. Sorry, just a quick question. You talked about putting the cards in order.
Yeah.
You have to do that for Oracle decks too?
Oracle decks, I'm really talking about tarot decks right now. Yes, I think in theory, the theory still holds for Oracle decks. I don't use Oracle decks as often as I'm using tarot decks. It's sort of like a 3-to-1 ratio, but once a week, just clear them all. Can't hurt, okay? Can't hurt. So setting your intention really before you go to the place of really shuffling for a particular reading. So you set your intention, please bring me information for my best and highest good. You're saying that again, right, about the specific reading. So you said it about the room, you said it about the space. Now you're saying it about the reading. Please bring me information in this reading for my best and highest good. And then you ask a question. So Colleen, you can share with everybody, a lot of you guys have taken the tarot class. I have a document that is about asking good questions.
Okay.
And for me, asking a good question, and I'll tell you what I mean by that, asking a good question and always using a spread that has specific meanings for each placement. So so you see how much more regimented this may be than what you might have thought. But if I'm looking to get the most out of a reading, I want to have all variables removed. So I want to know that if I do a modified Celtic cross, which is the spread we sent to you, each of those card placement, right? There's like 11 cards in that spread. Each one has a specific meaning, because when I get the questions of like, how do you know who's who and all this kind of stuff, that's how. There's only certain parts of that reading where a person who's not you can show up, because in theory, every single card is you in a reading, because it's a little bit of bad manners to be poking in on someone else's relationship without permission, to be poking in on other people's. Your questions are putting you in the power position. So what do I need to know about this circumstance? What do I need to know about how to handle this relationship? What may show up for me, and how can I best handle it? Okay, I want you to be in a power position. So when you're asking about another person, so let's say in a Celtic cross spread, a person, a court card, all right, there's a lot of people in the tarot deck, but really court cards are considered other people, or can be considered other people. You may intuit that a certain card is showing up. Like for example, if you're dealing with a Virgo and the Hermit card shows up, that may or may not be them. Okay, so it's really about, if you have a spread that really sets down the law, like these 3 cards are about me, these 3 cards are about anybody in my life, right? You can ask about a specific person. Okay, you can ask, what is the end? How can I best approach this person, this particular person? And then you're getting information for yourself. So if you get a lot, like if you're saying, how do I deal with Richard, or how do I deal with Cynthia, or something like that, and you get a lot of cards that are protective, okay, then you need to step back. There's something going on with that person. You can look further, because that is impacting you. Okay, so you are involved. So, okay, so I'd like to know what goes on with this person as it relates to me, as it's impacting me. Okay, and so there might be a lot of secrecy cards, there might be a lot, whatever it is, but asking the question of the entire spread, using the spread the way it's intended to be used. So please use a spread that is correctly showing you that each particular place in that spread has a meaning. So for example, in that Celtic cross spread that I sent you guys, the first card is you, how you're showing up. The second card is the situation. What is going on around you? The third card is your opportunity, the one that's crossing it. What's the opportunity? Okay. The fourth card is the message from the higher self. So that's the one that sits above. The fifth card, the one below, is the one that, how did we get here? Right? How did I get into this situation? The sixth card is the near future. That can be a person. The sixth card in the near future can be a person. The seventh card, the recent past, can also be a person. It more likely is you, but in the recent past, you know, sometimes it shows up as a past relationship. Sometimes the Six of Cups or the Judgment card can show it's about a past relationship. So card number 6, and then card number 8 down here is how you're showing up in this situation. Card number 9, near future, can also be a person. So card number 9 and card number 6 are the 2 places in that reading where I really usually see other people show up. If you are dealing with a Sagittarius and a Knight of Wands shows up, that's a Sag card. You can then clarify, okay, that person's there. I see them in this, you know, spread here in the place of another person. Okay, Knight of Wands is showing up. That just means Sag. Clarify what that means. Is this person being immature? Is this person a player? Is this person legit? Is this person moving too fast? What is it about the Knight of Wands that I need to know? Okay, and then lay down a couple of cards. I usually lay down 3 cards. So the next card is card 10, and that's the hopes and fears. And then card 11 is the outcome. I think there's some kind of argument going on as to whether the outcome card can be another person. I tend to think of it as situation. All of this is situation. Near future, card number 9, card number 6, that can be other people. And then you want to clarify to understand what they are. Okay. So if a court card shows up in one of those 2 things, that can be another person. If you're looking at it and you're going, that's interesting. This card is showing up in the near future. Look at that. I got the Knight of Swords when I was just messing around. Oh, okay. So somebody's coming in, Knight of Swords, could be an air sign, could be a younger air sign. Am I, you know, in my question, did I ask about a specific person? If I didn't, if my question was generally like, you know, when is love going to show up in my life? Then I'm going to have to dig a little deeper into any kind of court cards in those 2 locations in the reading. If I don't get anything there, if I don't get any other people in those 2 locations, then I'm seeing the spread as basically me and what's going on with me. And I can clarify about how can I bring love into my life and get a couple cards to clarify. When you look at that whole spread and you're like, I don't really see any other people showing up, it doesn't mean that no one's going to show up. It just means that maybe there's some lessons to learn first. Maybe there's some things to do first. Maybe there's some situations that need to leave you. Maybe there's some blocks, all of those things. But when I'm looking for an accurate reading and I'm looking to deal with other people, I need to make sure that either the question is about a particular relationship, so I can see that relationship in the spread. I might even look around for a spread that is specifically about a relationship. And that spread that I do about twin flame, where it's divine feminine, divine masculine, and the situation, is a great one. So if you don't know that spread, I'm not sure I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I did put it in the tarot class, and I'm definitely willing to share it with you guys. That spread that I used for twin flame. So Colleen, I don't know if you can find that spread, but
Which one is it, Mary Jo? I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's called relationship spread. I think that's what we put it in the tarot class.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I think we put it in the tarot class. So I'm kind of like just walking through my own rules here. Ask a real question when you're doing a spread.
I'm sorry, is it the twin flame energy spread?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's right.
Or the 2 of you?
Yes, the 2 of you. That's it, the 2 of you. Send that spread to everybody. I cannot underscore more strongly enough how important it is to ask a real question and use a real spread. Because if you do just those two things, if you don't even do the preparation, please do the preparation and protection. But if you ask a real question, the list of questions that I sent you should suffice, and you use a real spread, you're going to take away a lot of guesswork. All right. You're going to take, like, if you're just like, I just want to do a spread to see what's going on. What's going on where? What's going on with your calcium deficiency? What's going on with the dog? What's going on with the plumber? What? So be as specific as you can in your questions. I've given you that list of questions, and I think if you work with that and understand that, you know, there are rules about peeking into other people's relationships. I don't want to really, you know, tell you that that's just verboten. I think it's kind of considered bad manners. So take that. But if you can ask a real question and use a real spread that is definitely in alignment with what you want to know, that's going to be so much more powerful than just being like, I want to see what's going on. Okay. So the spread must have specific meanings for each card. And when you're first doing it, this is what I liked when I was first learning. This is what Jean taught me to do, just to get yourself out of your own head. Because I think that's what, right? Like you're kind of looking through like, oh, I want it to be one thing. I don't want it to be this other thing. You're going to have to employ a little King of Swords, like a I don't give a shit kind of attitude, in order to really get the most accuracy, because you can look at a whole spread and you can turn any card into a positive or a negative. You can really do that you can really bend things to your will. And so the best way I have come across to really kind of get out of that is as you're learning tarot. So let me move this over to the side, and I'll just do a little spread here for you, and I'll show you what my little thing is that I have done and I've learned to really get an accurate reading. So I'm going to use the modified Celtic cross, and I'm going to ask about what my approach should be. Let's see.
Hey, Joe, can I just interrupt for a second? I'm getting a whole bunch of questions. So Mary Jo was not talking about a list of questions. It was how to ask effective questions. And that is the document that I just uploaded to the chat. So if you scroll, I'll put it in again right now, but if you just scroll up, we've posted tonight the modified Celtic cross that Mary Jo is going to go over right now, the two of you spread, and the how to ask effective questions. Right. I will also put those in the follow-up email that we'll send either later tonight or tomorrow morning, that will contain all of those documents as well as the link to the replay of class tonight.
Right. And I'm only going to talk for a little while longer, and then I'll let you have questions and stuff. But
no.
So in that document, how to ask an effective question, there are some examples of good questions in there. Okay. There are some examples. So I'm just going to ask for myself. I'm just going to ask to myself because I don't want to really say this question out loud, but I'll just, let's just see where we go here. Okay. It's the question I ask myself every morning. How should I approach the day? Or how should I approach this particular person? What do I need to know about this particular relationship? Okay. So, all right. So I use the card underneath because I think that's the energy that's underpinning the whole reading. It's also something that I may not be aware of. All right. So I like that because I am kind of curious as to what's things that I can't see. I really want, so that's why the underneath of the deck is so meaningful to me. And I do that every single time, as you know. So I'm showing up as the 7 of Cups. The situation is the 8 of Cups. The opportunity is the 7 of Pentacles. The universe is saying to me, get your shit together. Emperor. The card that's how I got here is Judgment. That's a decision point. So what right away I'm seeing choices. This card is a choice. You see how she's making him have a choice. So the opportunity here, what's the opportunity is to have a choice. I'm a little confused. I see the 7 of Cups here. So right away, I see some key words for each of these cards. Not only that, but I notice that the Emperor and Empress have shown up. And I'm like, okay, that's curious. So let's keep going here. The near future is the 2 of Wands, not a court card. Okay, not a court card. Recent past, 4 of Cups. How I am showing up, 2 of Cups. The near future, also not a court card, 8 of Wands. So this reading is really about me, all right? This reading is really about me, about choices that I'm making, confusion that I'm having. Of course I am, because I'm doing a tarot reading about it. The hopes and fears, I want to move forward, okay? I want to move forward. And the outcome, 8 of Pentacles, really boring. This is really boring to me. But what I'm noticing, and then I do 3 cards just for clarification of the entire reading. That is how I do my spread every day. So I look at the entire spread and I'm like, what jumps out at me right away? Lots of 7s and 8s. And so I think numerologically, there's a, I'm in a situation that is nearing a conclusion or nearing a change, right? We get to the 9s, we get to the 10s, and things start over again, cycles. I have 8 of Wands, 8 of Cups, 8 of Pentacles, lots of 8s, 7 of Cups, 7 of Pentacles. Interesting, okay? Put a pin in that. So there's that. Then I notice the Emperor and the Empress, the Chariot and Judgment, kind of pretty low on major arcana cards. So when you look at it overall, what kind of jumps out at you? First of all, I see choice. Remember I said, so 2 of Wands is a card of choice. Judgment is a crossroads. 7 of Pentacles is a choice. She's making a choice here with these cups. 8 of Cups is a choice to move away from something that had been working but isn't working anymore. All right. And then in the past, woo, stuck. Okay. So I'm seeing myself as like, listen, if you want to move forward, 8 of Wands, all right. If you want to, because 8 is the number of action. Emperor, the universe is saying, get your shit together, take some action. Stop being stuck. Stop being stuck. You're going to need to make a choice here. And you're going to need to put in some effort around this. 7 of Pentacles and 8 of Pentacles. You need to put some effort. You might not be doing that because you might be like listening to other people too much. So my little thing that when I first started reading, I would do is go 1 card at a time in order and just say the keyword out loud. Okay. So 7 of Cups, confusion. Of walking away is 8 of Cups, spiritual path, walking away. I'm confused, walking away. The opportunity is to make a new choice. The universe is telling me, take action, the Emperor. How I got here, standing at a crossroads, not making a choice, okay? Standing at a crossroads. The near future is an opportunity to make the choice, 2 of Wands. The recent past, listening to too much bullshit from other people, okay? How I'm coming across, 2 of Cups is also kind of a choice. 2 of Cups is a choice in love, just like the Lovers. It's the lower octave of the Lovers. It's to make a heart-centered choice. And then I go, oh, look at that. In the middle, 7 of Cups and 8 of Cups, heart-centered choices. What's underneath? Venus. What's in my heart? What is really in my heart? That's the right choice. Okay. But you're going to have to put a lot of time and effort into it because it's not going to move forward. Okay. 8 of Wands is moving forward fast. Chariot moving forward fast. It's not going to move forward until you put the time and effort into it. I go one card at a time. I say one of the keywords, fast movement, put in effort, right? I look at all the cards and I'm like, okay. Do you see how that you can kind of get a story just from keywords, right? Just from keywords, just from looking at the overall energy. Does the overall energy seem stuck anymore? Not really. It seems like it's moving in the right direction. It seems like things are, but the activity that has to happen is not the movement, it's the choice. That's what's in the heart of this reading. And you also should be looking at the first card and being like, what is its relationship to the outcome card? 7 of Cups, 8 of Pentacles. This person is confused. This person doesn't know what to choose. The outcome card, whistling a happy tune. I know exactly what I'm doing, okay? And it may require me to make a choice that walks away from something that I never thought I'd walk away from, because too many people have been putting their own opinions in my head. So now it's time for me to listen to my higher self, listen to my guide. There's the Hierophant in there. Okay, listen to my guide as I'm making this choice. Listen to my own heart, Venus. Okay, so that's like a rudimentary way of doing a reading, but it's very cool if you give this a try. If you stick to a particular spread and you're, really cognizant of what the energy of the reading is, you're cognizant of the placement of the cards. And I don't see anybody here yet. I have some work to do for myself, because eventually I do see this Emperor and Empress. So once you start to do readings like this, I do feel like you get more comfortable. I feel like automatically you see storylines. I feel like that's what happened to me. So when I do my 9 card reading, it can show up in the reading as, past, present, future, this person, that person, where we are. It's almost like I can see which one of the things it is during the reading, like on the fly. And so you progress to that place where you're still using discipline, you're still using spreads and things like that, but you're starting to see patterns. You're starting to see how things glue together. It's almost like this card is talking to that card. Like you can kind of see that. So I'm going to open it up for questions. Let me see if I had any other notes here that I wanted to say. No, I think that's everything I wanted to say. So I want to hear what questions are percolating. Okay, Colleen.
Okay. Sarah asks, just before we get started with questions, guys, people are asking where the Q&A is. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see, the chat and where you can raise your hand and all of that. That's where the Q&A is. And please make sure to put all of your questions into the Q&A, not in the chat. It just moves too fast. I'd never be able to find them. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Sarah asks, what does it mean when you get a major arcana in the timing position?
The timing position, you can if the spread you're using says this card is the timing position, the major arcana card can mean that either it's bigger, okay, it's bigger than timing, like judgment day, right? Like there's a particular time that's going to come where it's going to be, you got to make this choice and you can't wait any longer. So I see timing in a couple ways. Timing is a big topic. Okay. First of all, I choose the 5th card in every reading to be the timing card. That's my own deal with my own deck. You can say I choose the 11th card or the fourth card to be a timing card. The 5th card in this spread already also does have a meaning of, how did we get here? I just happen to have made that deal. I've done it for years. That's just how I see it. Now, there's different methodologies of timing. You can use the kind of timing that basically says cups are months, and this would be the 8th month, 8 of Cups, 8th month, or 8 months from now. Okay, you can use that kind of timing. With major arcana cards is what she asked. Some of them have some of them are related to the zodiac signs, right? This is Aries, so that's March. Some of them have no relationship to a zodiac, really. They have relationships to planets and things like that. So when I see one of the major arcanas that don't really correlate to a particular zodiac sign, because there's 12 zodiac signs and there's 22 of the major arcana, I kind of look at it as like a storytelling way of telling time. So when I see this, number one, what I just said to you about, oh, there's going to come a day where I'm going to have to make a choice, and it ain't going to be I will have no choice in the matter. I will have to make a decision at that moment. So it's sort of like a little bit of a warning to me, like, get your shit together, because the timing is approaching fast where you're going to have to make a decision based on also this card from the universe telling me to get my act together, right? So you can also say, like, all right, I'm going to clarify the timing, because it doesn't really have, like, Two of Wands would be 2 weeks, in my opinion, right? There's a couple of ways of telling time. And Judgment, please clarify timing in this reading. Five of Pentacles. Also not helpful, because Five of Pentacles, that's 5 years. Pentacles are the slowest time, and that's not really a thing. Tarot readings don't really last for 5 years. But what this says to me is that I am going to be pushed unexpectedly. I'm not going to know the timing. I'm not going to know when I will not be able to dawdle any longer. Okay, that's what this says to me. So not every major arcana card is treated equally in terms of timing. Like I said, this is Venus. This relates to Taurus. This relates to Libra. So you can use that kind of timing, or you can use a storytelling kind of timing. That topic is, I think I did that didn't I do that in the last class in July? We talked about timing. I think I might have. There's a lot to it.
Yeah, the last class was all about timing.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. So in the big tarot class, there's a whole section on timing. Anyway, that's what I would say about Judgment here. Go ahead, Colleen.
All right. Janelle wants to know, is there anyone you should not read for?
I believe I think it's your own personal preference. If you sit down with someone in person and you're like, I'm not feeling a good vibe here, it's up to you. If you're asking, like, I shouldn't read for my boyfriend, or I shouldn't read for my father, or I shouldn't read, I don't really think that's true. The thing I don't like, I once had this happen to me. This woman who was a friend of mine asked me to come. She wanted to buy a reading for her husband. And I was like, oh, sure. It was like, they all asked me over for brunch, and I had brunch with them. And then I was going to do the reading for her husband. And she, like, sat right there, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. She wanted to, like, peek in again. And he, I said to him, I'm like, this is up to you. But I mean, that's kind of like rude to, if she wanted to buy him a reading, she should just get out of the room and let me do my reading for him. Because is he really going to say, no, I don't want you to see it? Because then she's going to be like, why didn't you want me to see it? So that, to me, I really pushed off away from that person, because I she wanted to know about her husband, and I just thought that was a little inappropriate. But mostly it's about energy. It's not necessarily, for me, somebody you shouldn't read for. If you feel like the energy is not good, then I would beg off. That's what I would say.
Okay. Alyssa asks, how do you remember all of the spread?
Well, I do it all the time. And I would say just use one spread until you really know it. Just really practice with one spread. Get to know it. from memory, I can tell you what each of these I just did it. Each of these placements are about, and how I look at the whole and how I look at the individual cards. Just use a spread. That's why I gave you the modified Celtic cross. It's a general spread. I have books and books full of spreads. You go on Pinterest, look how many spreads there are. There's spreads for the full moon. There's spreads for the new moon. There's spreads for, releasing negativity. Just everything you can imagine. The modified Celtic cross or the Celtic cross is the gold standard, in my opinion. It is the original spread. Okay, so, I'm saying to you, go back to the roots of tarot and use the original spread. This is a modified Celtic cross. I like the modified one because it gives me a card of opportunity. So, okay.
Okay. Rosemary says, so does this mean the placement of the card is higher than the tarot cards themselves?
No, they work together. It's like the 8th house in Gemini, right? Gemini and the 8th house work together. They're inextricably bonded. So when you put them down in that position, it just gives it boundaries. It just gives you boundaries. It gives you a discipline. And the only way to really, I feel, this is just my philosophy, the only way to be a really creative, expansive, connected to spirit tarot reader that can just spin the tails and all that kind of stuff is to be super disciplined. So it doesn't mean that the spread is over the card or the card is over the spread. They both need each other.
Diane asks, when clarifying, does it make a difference in the storytelling if you skip around the original card placements, or is it best to clarify cards in the order that they show up in the spread?
I think when you're doing, so for me, when you're doing a reading, I do kind of follow the spread, right? I do go from card 1 to card 11. I follow it for, so there's a couple things that happen. Right away, you can look at it from a macro position and what's the energy here? What am I seeing? Am I seeing I remember doing spreads where they were all court cards and you're like, holy crap, what is that about? So look at it holistically as a unit, and then individual. When you're clarifying, I personally clarify when something doesn't make sense, or when, like I said, about having the court cards in these positions, then I want to know more about them, because I feel like court cards in these positions in this particular spread can show a person, and you can be like, okay, it's a queen or it's a page or something like that. But you want to know, does that mean that it's a person that is an air sign, like Page of Swords? Let's say Page of Swords shows up. Are we talking about somebody younger than me? Are we talking about someone who is a messenger? Are we talking about someone who is an air sign? So you want to get a little more information around who that person is. So don't jump right to the conclusion, like with the Knight of Wands over here, if there was a Knight of Wands here, that it's just like, oh, that's a player. Oh my God. No, it's a Knight of Wands that indicates Sagittarius. And then I want to know more about that person. So in the clarifiers, you can do that. I personally only clarify. I don't clarify every card, because I think what happens then is it's almost like you're not respecting the original reading. Okay. So I only clarify the ones that don't make sense. There is something that's kind of cool to do. And I will say it's not the 3-card clarification, but when you lay out a spread, do your reading of the spread, okay? And then take a second deck, ask the same question, and lay out a second spread. So every card has 1 card with it. And then see which ones are like, was I right about that? Or was I not seeing deeply enough into this card? So if I did that, And I was like, right away, I'm thinking like the universe is telling me to get my act together. If I did that, and the card that I got with the Emperor was the King of Pentacles, I'd be like, yup, I was right. Get your act together, because that's very mature energy. That's masculine energy. If I'm looking around at this reading and I'm showing up as the Two of Cups, right? And I'm thinking, oh, maybe I'm coming at it really from my heart. Maybe I really am coming at it that way. And I pull the second card and I get the Star, and I'm like, oh yeah, because that's all about hope. Right? I really am. I'm seeing it correctly. So it's a good way for you to clarify what you're doing, what you're, how you're seeing the spread, is to just take a second deck, ask the same question, and lay out a second spread right on top of it and be like, now, what additional information does that give me? That's kind of a cool thing to do. I like doing that every once in a while. It'll just give you more. But if you're clarifying with 3 cards every single card, then I'm thinking you're not really getting the point of the reading to begin with. Okay.
Time. So Kristen asks, timing. In timing, cups are months, wands are weeks, pentacles are years. What are swords?
Days.
Okay. So a lot of people are asking.
Before you go, there's a lot of different timing methodology, and you can look that up and see about timing, because just use one and stick with it. Okay. That's the one that I believe what you just said. But there's plenty of people who have different ideas about that. So just choose a method of timing and stick with it. Sorry, Colleen, go ahead.
That's okay. A lot of people are asking about the spread that you do in the morning readings, the 9-card spread.
Yep.
People are asking what is the spread? Is it appropriate for beginners?
No, it's my own made up spread. Okay. And you're not hearing me do all my intentions before I do the spread. Sometimes I'm asking about past, present, future. Sometimes I'm asking about me and another person, and then the relationship. I'm asking those things to myself as I'm shuffling. So I think that that's just part of my process, and it's not something that I share. It's something that I use. That 9 card spread, I use a card under, from underneath. And then when I do the rest of the spread, I do I do about the blocks. I do about the advice to you. I ask about messages to you, and I ask about where we're going. And so a lot of times I look at those 9 cards, and a lot of the storytelling that you hear from me is more about the holistic view of the 9 cards than it is what I'm saying to you, because I have spent 30 years going, keyword, 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 keyword. And I've gotten to the point where I can look at it and go, it's sort of like someone who's a mathematician. They can look at a whole board full of numbers and see the thing that needs to be said. Okay. So when you get experienced and you have used the same spread over and over again, you begin to see patterns in it. You begin to see, and if I did that keyword, 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 I'm pretty confident that the reading would come out the same. The storytelling might sound different. That's the only thing I've been able to discern. The storytelling might be really boring compared to, keyword, the keyword, keyword, keyword. The holistic way of looking at it, I think, is a better presentation. Okay. So that's kind of, how I work with that spread.
Mary Jo, they want to know what cards, what decks you're using during this class.
Right now? Okay. So this is my Radiant Wise Spirit deck. The one I use this a lot. You see this a lot. It's very vibrant. It's beautiful colors. I really love it. This is something, I have like 4 of these decks. I love that deck. This one I'm using, this one is called the Mythic Tarot deck. I don't think you can get this anymore. I paid $100 for this deck. I think they discontinued the artwork. And so now you can buy the Mythic Tarot deck, but the artwork is not nearly as good, in my opinion. So I went on, was it Etsy? I think I went on Etsy and I was looking for the Mythic Tarot deck. And there was a whole bunch of them there that had 1 or 2 cards missing, and that's not okay. So the one that was intact, I bought that one, and I don't even know if there's any more. It's out of print. This is out of print. That's the one I'm using. These are the 2 cards I'm using right now. Those are the decks I'm using right now.
Okay. All right. I'm just sending, I just was writing those.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
What book or reference would be good for a beginner to learn the meaning of the cards? A lot of people are asking, how do you learn the meanings of the cards?
The easiest way, in my opinion, is it's sort of like flashcards, you know, like kind of when you're learning the meanings of like the French verbs and stuff like that, you do flashcards. These are already flashcards, okay? So you can do this. You can look at the 2 of Wands and you can put a couple of, you know, you can put a little Post-it note on the back and you can look at the card and you can be like, okay, 2s are about choice. And what I want you to do is to, you know, come up with 2 or 3 keywords. So there's plenty of good books. I like, don't we have that list of tarot books on the website still, or I can't remember?
We have, yes, we do. We have a list. I'll put the link to the,
Okay. I have a bunch of books here in my little office. Is that it? No. Okay. Well, I have put all my favorite ones in that list. And there's a book called Power Tarot, which I don't know, might be out of print. I've had it for 20 years. It's called Power Tarot, and it has a lot of good spreads in there. It also has a lot of good keywords. You want to kind of create a story in your mind. So like when you're learning to speak French or you're learning to speak Spanish, I found it a lot easier to be immersed in it. So you're having to create stories in your head, and you're having to, you know, when you're learning a language, you're having to look at it more holistically. I don't know how to communicate that very well. But when I look at the Emperor, what does it make me feel? I feel like power. I feel masculine energy. What do I know about an emperor? That they make the decisions. Okay. What do I also know about Emperor? I know it relates to Aries. So what do I know about Aries? Aries is about taking action. It's lonely at the top time. Okay. So really pay attention to each of the cards. And that's why I don't really like cards that are just, you know, I think it's the Thoth decks that have like, all they have on the card is like, you know, a wand, 1 wand, 2 wands, 3 wands. I know what those cards mean, but it doesn't help me not to have pictures. When I look at the 8 of Pentacles, what does that make you feel like? The guy's working. He's industrious. He's definitely done a lot of work. He's really paying attention to what he's doing. He's careful. He's, you know, a craftsman. He's, you know, those are all keywords for the card. So looking at these cards, 4 of Cups, you see how in this deck, each deck can have a different look to it. You know, I've noticed that particularly about like the 4s, but each deck can have a unique kind of expression, just like the tarot deck that we made, Colleen, has a different expression of things. So this is the 8 of Pentacles. All right, remember this card, the 8 of Pentacles. This is the 8 of Pentacles in this other deck that I have. Right? She's being industrious. Same thing, but there's definitely a feminine feel to it. She's making a dress. She's, you know, really doing something she loves. She's maybe in her own house, right? She's designing. She's doing something that's very, you know, meaningful to her. All of these things are relevant. And when you learn a couple keywords, then you can start to infuse it with your own feeling as it relates to the question you've asked, as it relates to where it is in the spread, as it relates to what feeling does it give me? Because that's part of your intuition. What feeling does it give me? Oh, wow. I feel like there's a lot on the line here. I feel like there's a lot of questions being asked. There's a lot of decisions needing to be made. I feel like there's some confusion here. I'm feeling like, oh God, there's just so much going on, right? And that's relevant. Even if it's not a keyword of any of these cards, it's relevant to the reading because you're feeling it. All right, so start with keywords for each of the cards and then get to what does it make you feel? Okay.
Is Power Tarot by TJ McGregor?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that book.
Okay. Is it better to purchase new cards versus used ones? And is it okay to buy your own decks? Like, do you have to be gifted?
I think that's a little bit, that's kind of an old wives' tale about like cards are more effective if you're gifted them. If you get a gift of tarot deck, you know, I've been given, I don't know how many, I have hundreds of tarot decks. I've been given, and you see that I use like 4. But when you're gifted one, I always think it's good to put it to use, right? I always think it's good because it's good juju. You can buy your own tarot decks. I wouldn't be superstitious about that. This is a used tarot deck. This mythic deck. So, you know, just go through your practice of clearing the deck, just like everything I told you. There's nothing beyond that. If you want to do, I think it's really powerful in the new moon when you have a tarot deck to put it on the windowsill to allow it to be infused with your intention. And then on the full moon, if you want to release anything, you can put tarot decks in the windows. I do that a lot. To, you know, especially at the old house where I was, it was like a sunroom. And so I had all the tarot decks in there and they would constantly get the new moon and full moon energy. So if you buy a used tarot deck, I would recommend the releasing the full moon part where you're putting it in the window for a day or two, just to release any energy from it. Okay.
Okay. Do you have a ritual to close?
Mostly, I mean, I don't know if it's really a ritual. That's why I'm hesitating. I do a lot of gratitude around whatever message I get. Even if it's something I don't want to hear, it's the same prayer of gratitude. A lot of times my ritual is around journaling. I know you don't want to hear that, but like once I do a reading for myself, I write down the reading and I put down my feelings, my impressions, my thoughts about it, the question I asked. We're going to be doing a tarot journal that's hopefully will be printed by Christmas, because I'm the one that's slowing things down, I got to tell you. But that whole idea of every day I do a reading, I put down my impressions, I put down my thoughts, and then my closing is just a prayer of thanksgiving for any wisdom that comes through. That's all I do, just a prayer of thanksgiving.
There were quite a few questions about journaling in here. So maybe someone asked, what do I write? What do I journal about?
So you journal about what you got from the reading, okay? The reason journaling is important is, number one, you're writing down symbols. You're writing down information that you get from a reading. Like when I see this, someone else may see the Emperor as kind of something different. They may see, like sometimes I see the Emperor as, you know, having a narcissistic personality. Sometimes I see it as stepping into your own power. Sometimes I see it. So what you want to do in that journal entry is, I know the question I asked. Here are the impressions I get from this reading. I get the impressions that pretty soon I'm going to have to make a choice here. And I'm going to have to get off the dime and move forward and start putting in more time and effort. I see that. So I'm going to write that down. My question was about a particular relationship. I'm going to have to put in effort, a lot of effort into this relationship if I choose to go forward with it. I'm going to write that kind of stuff down. I'm going to write down the feeling of, I wasn't really sure if this meant that things were going to move forward or not. What I'm seeing here is I feel like I'm in charge of things moving forward. Emperor, okay? So when you're journaling about a tarot reading, you can also not just write about the nuts and bolts of it, but then you can say, you can kind of riff on the themes that you got in your reading about, I seem confused. What's bringing up, what's the confusion I'm having right now? Why am I? So this is known as automatic writing, when you're just writing and writing in your tarot, in your journal for a couple of pages. You commit to, let's say, 3 pages, just like Julia Cameron talks about in the book called The Artist's Way. She says 3 pages, because you need to get all the nonsense out of your head onto the page before you can really get through to the wisdom. So if you want to do your spread and then start writing about it, commit to writing 3 pages, 3 full pages, and just keep your pen moving. When you run out of stuff in your conscious mind, you're starting to tap into your unconscious mind. Things are starting, because your nature abhors a vacuum. Your brain will allow things to start showing up from your subconscious into your mind, and then they can come out on paper. So I was doing this one day. I was, talking about the channel, talking about readings. What am I doing? What am I doing? Show them their power. That's what came out. And I was like, oh my God, that's what I need to do. Wisdom will come out of these readings that may or may not show up in the cards if you start doing something like that. Okay, that's how you really get to your intuitive sense. Then if you have this practice of doing readings and writing, you're going to start seeing storylines show up. You're going to start seeing your own symbols. You're going to start understanding the language of your spirit guides. And that's what everybody wants anyway, isn't it? So that's why journaling is so important in my view. Okay, Colleen, we'll take one more question because we were a little late starting.
Oh, there's so many good ones, Mary Jo. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. There's still like 40 questions in here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. So a lot of people are asking about shuffling and cards jumping out, cards on the bottom, like the meaning of the card on the bottom of the deck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the meaning of the card under, you are in charge of your own readings too. Like I infuse the card underneath the deck as something I'm not seeing, right? It's coming, the energy is coming from underneath the deck. You have power. Okay. So it's not just that, oh, the tarot card means this. You're the one who's tapping into your intuition. All right. And you're the one who has your hands and knows, how many times you shuffled, or, if you ever watch, like, is the card underneath the same one every single time? Am I really doing a good job of mixing it up? Am I, able to do it? There's as many different ways of shuffling as there are people. Okay. So this is how I like to do it. Just, why? Because my hands are too small to be doing it this way. And it's really awkward for me to do it that way. Okay. So no mystery there. It's a logistics problem. What else about that question you were saying? The shuffle.
I wanted to know about cards that jump out. Do they have special meanings, and the cards on the bottom of the deck?
Yes, I think the cards that jump out are trying to get your attention. Okay. I think the cards that jump out, especially if you're saying something and a card jumps out, just grab it and be like, okay, this is the answer to what I just said. I pay attention to specific cards that mean, so the aces for me, again, you can make a deal with your deck. When aces come out, especially the Ace of Swords, if I'm saying something and that Ace of Swords shows up next, the thing I just said is the damn truth. Okay. So also cards in the deck that jump out, that they show up. I'm surprised we haven't gotten any questions about reversals and stuff like
Well,
that.
I was just gonna say, yes, we have.
Okay, so when cards jump out, read them however you see them. So if a card jumps out, you know, and it just shows up like this or whatever, I would, if it's on sideways, I would usually do it upright, but sometimes cards really show up reversed. There's many things you can think about reversals, card reversals. Card reversals can be you're resisting that energy, okay? It can be that you are, you know, not utilizing that energy, you're not seeing it, you're blocking it, something like that. In specific books, the one I gave you, that book I just gave you, the Power Tarot, a lot of books have specific meanings for reversals. I tend to see them as blocked energy, okay? And you can, when you're starting out reading, you can see them that way, and then you can give more nuance to them. When I'm using reversals, I don't always use reversals, because here's the thing. To me, every single card in this deck has both a positive and a negative meaning, whether it's upright or not. And I'm using my intuition. I do intuitive tarot. So if I could see the 10 of Cups, you know, and the Sun and the Empress and all these things, and be like, wow, that's what you really want, but I don't really see that you're going there. I don't see that you're going in that direction, right? Like, you can see things as being resistant, whether or not it's in reverse. To me, it's like, okay, that's kind of cheating. Like, okay, like, can you intuit a card as having blocked energy? I can. So when you get to that point, if you want to use reversals, do it. Whatever rocks your boat, okay? Just do it. But I will say to you that the discipline, when you start out, the more disciplined you can be, the more accurate the spread, the more accurate the reading will be, because you will have removed so many question marks for yourself. You will have removed a lot of these things. So if you say, I'm just going to read all cards straight up, because for me, I want to remove that additional thing right now, I just don't want to do it, you will definitely start to see that certain cards, even if you think of them as positive, given the context and given the placement in the spread, you'd be like, I don't think I like that there. That seems like not in keeping with the rest of the spread. Like, that's a sore thumb kind of card. Everything else is rosy, and then you've got this 9 of Swords, like, right? And you can see that as like, wow, maybe you're not paying attention to what your brain is trying to tell you. Your brain is trying to wake you up in the middle of the night, knock, 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 and you're not listening. You know what I mean? Like, you could see it as that. So you're going to have your own interpretations. You're going to have your own language, your own love language with the cards. It's kind of like a layered experience. So start out with as much discipline as you can have. It's just like having boundaries, right? It's like, this spread has these meanings. I'm going to stick to that. I'm going to really ask good questions. The importance of asking good questions cannot be overstated. If you ask good questions, you're going to get, bullshit in, bullshit out. So the better the question, the more specific the question, the more specific the reading. Okay. Anything else that's sort of showing up there, Colleen? That you think is a big theme? Because we'll go to 8:15. I'll just give them a couple more.
Let's see. So there's quite a few questions about if you ask a question, like, so if you're pulling for yourself, like, one person asked, how many times a day can I pull cards to practice? Another person asked, if I ask a question and I don't like the answer, like, how long do you wait before
if you don't like the answer? Are you kidding me? Use what? Okay. The point of tarot is not to get the rosy, happy reading. The point of tarot is to get information. So be grateful for a spread that you look at it and go, oh, because it's just like not seeing red flags while you're dating a guy. if you don't see it, if you're not like, thank God I saw that red flag, then you're going to get yourself, you're going to be like, you're going to get down a road, you're going to be like, how come I didn't see this? Well, it's because you really didn't like the fact that there was a 5 of Pentacles, or that there was a, that there was a death card, or that there was a thing there that you're like, oh, this isn't going to work out, or this isn't going to make me happy, or I'm going to feel miserable with this person. Like, every single spread is giving you, think about it, that every single spread is trying to help you. And I'm going to say to you, I would not do more than 1 spread a day, and you can ask different questions, but don't keep asking the same question over and over again. So if you want to do a spread on a particular relationship, do 1 spread. Look at Charlie. Do 1 spread about that question. If you want to practice, do a different question, use that same spread, do a new question, do a new question. Okay. That's what I would say. You tired? Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
This one's all cattywampus.
Have you ever had a negative energy come through, and what do you do when it does?
I immediately, punish myself because I guess I didn't put up my bubble of protection. But I definitely shields up. Okay. So, I mean, like literally, I kind of do that right away. I'm just like, nope, you're not welcome here. Out you go. Not welcome here. Bye now. I mean, I say it right out loud. And it doesn't happen because I do a lot of protective stuff, and it kind of becomes the protected room. So I don't know that I'm saying it every time, but this is the room where this stuff happens. Okay. And that's why, like, picking up and going to another room is kind of like, you got to do it all over again. So if anything comes in that's a negative entity that you're feeling, that shields up. That's not welcome here. Not welcome here. Bye-bye now. Just do that. Get some sage, walk away from your tarot deck. Just let that go away. Okay? No, thank you.
Is there ever a situation where you would take the cards back and reshuffle to pull cards again?
No. What's the point of that? I mean, you're basically saying, I don't believe this spread. And the thing is, then this is exactly why people don't think tarot is accurate, because they don't trust the information that's coming here. Sometimes you'll do a spread, you'll ask a question, and the spread will make no sense. Okay. That can mean a couple things. It can either mean you're asking this question too much and the tarot deck is like, get over this. Okay. Or you are being told about something else. So if you're really feeling like this doesn't make any sense to what I asked, then that's when the spread is, you're going to need to do some clarification with a few of the cards or whatever to really get a sense of, why is this showing up? What is this about? Because it can be a kind of if you're asking about a particular relationship and the spread that shows the cards that show up make no sense, ask it why it makes no sense, because you probably don't know all of the stuff that's going on, and it's choosing to give you information around what you asked based on what you need to know. You don't know this. You have not seen it. Like, oh my God, this is like something totally foreign to me. Why am I getting this confusing kind of spread? Give yourself 3 cards and then meditate on it. Think about it. Don't keep throwing cards. Don't keep throwing cards. That's a surefire way to confuse yourself. Sit with the cards that you're dealt. Okay. You watch. I do tarot spreads all the time. There's no cuts in the videos. I'm just throwing the cards based on the spread, based on the question I'm asking, and I'm reading them. And so I'm like, well, if the spread comes out that it's like this, sad story, or it's this wonderful story, That's what I saw. You know what I mean? And you kind of have to be like that. You can't just be like, oh no, it can't be like that. Erase, erase, erase. Let's do it again. Because then you're going to screw yourself up. You're really going to screw yourself up. And it's not going to mean anything to you anymore. So.
All right. One last question. How do you get answers about health?
Say it again.
How do you get answers about health?
Okay. So health and well-being, I think you want to ask, to me, I think that is a touchy subject. I think you ask about your own health. I think you ask about what you can do to improve your health. I think that if you see a lot of things that are like, I'm going to need some help, I'm going to need some assistance. There are some cards in the deck that are indicative of health and well-being. I mean, Virgo is, even though it's the Hermit, it is about your health and well-being. If you're seeing a lot of cards that are swords, sometimes I see that as knives. Sometimes I see it as surgeries. Like you can, there's whole books on this topic of particular subjects that people want to ask about. Most of the things that people want to ask about when I'm involved, it has to do with love and relationships. And a distant second is money and abundance. And then after that, everything else. But love is by far the king. So if someone's asking you about health, I think that's a really challenging area. And you want to look up a specific spread. You want to look up how health tarot readings work. You're going to want to get educated before you go doing something like that for a person. Okay.
She was talking about actually pulling for herself.
Yeah, I would just say, you know, what's coming down the road for me in terms of my health and well-being, and then see what you get. There are definitely books out there that relate cards to specific parts of the body, specific, you know, health concerns, right? There's even decks that are related to health issues. So she may want to get that specific. I would want that. Okay.
Okay.
Get yourself a special deck. Get yourself a special deck about health. Okay. Okay. Anything, one more to tie it up?
Okay. Renee says that, she says, I know we're about to wrap up. I just want to say I love my new deck. I use it every day.
Yay! That's perfect, Colleen. That's great. I'm glad you guys like the deck. Yes, yes, yes. So on the website, obviously you guys all know all of the tarot card meanings are on the website. We're going to be having a new website launch later this fall. I'm not sure what date, so don't ask me, but it's going to be cool and fun to look at and fun to use. So I hope you use that as a reference and a resource too. All right, you guys, much love. I hope that was helpful to you. There's a lot of people on tonight, so we did our best to answer questions, but there's, you know, the whole tarot course is available to you, and these are just like little special single topics. So if you like these classes, we'll continue. These were just special for the summer. So drop us a line if you want us to continue. That would be good to hear what you have to say. Some feedback to us is always good. All right, my loves. Good night, everybody. All right. I hope you learned a lot from that mini class. I felt like the questions were really great, so I wanted to make sure you experience those questions. Now, if you want to get the full course, The Wisdom of the Tarot, it is a recorded class. You can check it out in the description box below. Grab that link. I'm also doing a tarot certification. If you want to learn and be part of a certified group of tarot readers that we are expanding Soulful Revolution with, there is a link below to that too. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to see you in the class in the future.